I'm about to watch Meg 2 The Trench. I actually saw the original Meg in the theater 5 years ago when it came out. And I can't say I'm really excited for this one, but it looks like it's being more self-aware that it's a stupid shark movie that's a Jaws ripoff. And so, I'll let you know what I thought of it when I get out. Hi, my name is Nathan, and I talk about a bunch of movies and TV shows on this channel. If you're new here, then down below in the comment section, share what you thought of Meg 2 The Trench, and click that like button down here, click the subscribe button, because it really does help a lot over on my channel. I have more movie reviews, videos like this. You could check those out when this video is over, and with that said, let's just get straight into it with the review. And typically, I split my reviews into the good and the bad, but there's just not a lot of good things I have to say about this movie, so I'm just going straight into this like this. So, when it comes to the Meg, I saw the original Meg in the theater when it first came out 5 years ago, opening night, as just this Jaws ripoff, and that was not a very fun and a very forgettable film, and somehow this movie ends up being more forgettable to me and a worse film. So, I just went into this movie from the trailers with the pop music, the rock music going on in the background. I went in just expecting some dumb fun. Enjoyable enough. Something that I could put on easily. And that is just not what I got from this movie. And it's just a terrible movie that some movies are so bad that they're entertaining and good again. This movie is not one of those to me. This is just a film that just sucks. It's boring. Like, it's not a movie I would ever rewatch because I just have so many issues with it. Like, I don't even like the first Meg all that much. This one, I thought it was just going to be dumb fun. That's not really what this movie is to me. And so, starting off, what do I need to say about this? It's just a very incompetent film. There are way too many plot lines going on all throughout its runtime. And it just feels so overstuffed. I don't want to go into spoilers, but it feels so overstuffed. The way in which the story is told, by the time you get to the end, I was confused, and I'll get to the third act later, but it was just confusing from beginning to end. Another thing here, the Megalodon, the Meg itself, is a side character in its own movie. It is not one of the main characters of this movie. Like, it is not shown to be the prominent monster in this movie, the one killing people. The Megalodon is definitely a side character in its own movie. And even the title, The Trench, they're not really in the trench all that much in this movie. And so the title is very misleading for this film. And it's not so much Meg 2 as it is Random Giant Sea Creatures Part 1. It's not entirely about the Megs. The main plot line is about, like, evil corporation with Megs, number 1, and evil corporation with different sea creatures, number 2. Both evil corporations, and it's like this action spy movie where Jason Statham is punching people in the face and knocking people out with objects around him. It's not a movie about Jason Statham battling a shark. It's a movie about evil corporations experimenting on sea creatures and Jason Statham battling people and running around. That's just a strange choice. Like, the Meg should be the main monster in this movie, the main villain in its own movie, and it's not. That's just such a strange choice to me. And beyond that, like, in the final act, you just get a bunch of these sea creatures popping up out of nowhere. It makes it feel like the Meg is, like, a side character, and that's just really odd. The main plot itself about the evil corporations and things like that, I absolutely did not care about. That's the main plot of the movie. Like, that's the focus of almost the entire movie, and I just simply didn't care about anything that was happening in this movie. Like I struggled a little bit to understand entirely what was going on in the movie until like the third act. And by the time you got to the end, and it's just a big battle with a bunch of humans and sea creatures, I had no idea what was going on in that final act. I had no idea what I was watching. Like, it's just a bunch of stuff happening. And, like, I don't understand why a big Hollywood motion picture is this incompetent, this incomprehensible, where I am legitimately confused at what I'm watching by the time I get to the final act of the film. Like, that is just, it's unbelievable that this is a Hollywood production released in theaters, and it was this incompetent. That, like, by the end of it, I went to see this movie with a couple of friends who are younger than me, and I'm pretty sure we had no idea what was going on at the very end, and so it's just wildly incomprehensible, incompetent, and I just, I'm not really sure why they marketed this movie as Jason Statham battling sharks. Jason Statham battling sharks sounds awesome, right? Well, no, that's not what this movie's about. It was a bit dishonest the way they marketed it. The trailers get all these, like, beach sequences. That's only literally in the last 25 minutes of the movie. Like, it's not really set at the beach or anything like that. And so, it's just not really good. And maybe I could have fun with this if the movie knew it was a dumb shark movie. If it had, like, people cracking jokes all throughout it and things like that, I probably could have gotten a kick out of this movie. But no. This movie decides to play it with a totally straight face. One of my biggest problems with the original Meg is that it took this ridiculous premise and it played it with a totally straight face. And this movie has even more ridiculous things, and it still plays it with a completely straight face. Like, oh, we're in danger, and he needs to save us by doing all this other stuff in the other room. Like, inherently, there's some fun that could come with that if they were started, like, cracking jokes and things like that. No. And the jokes that do come in this movie aren't even that funny. They just kind of fall flat. And so, yeah, that was just, it just didn't really succeed at it. And so I view this movie as just things happening in chronological order. Just stuff happening. And I have no idea what's going on. And final thing to talk about here, I think this movie really fails to properly build the tension needed for a sequence. Like I mentioned earlier, there are sequences where people die, which should be these really potent emotional sequences, and no, they're not. It's just kind of, they died. And there's sequences where people will be, if he does this, then we survive. We're about to die, but if he does this, we're survive. And it just doesn't have the tension necessary to give more weight to that sequence. And so, in general, this was not a good movie to me. I didn't enjoy what they did with this movie, and I would probably never rewatch it. I just have a bunch of issues with it, and so final score is a C-. I don't know, maybe it'll be fun for you if you watch it with a bunch of your buddies, go to the theater and watch Meg 2. But as for me, it just sucked. I just did not enjoy this movie, and so there you have it. Those are my thoughts on Meg 2 The Trench over on my channel. I have more content like this. Check those out right now. Click that like button, but you should subscribe because it really does help a lot. And thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end, and I will see you in the next one.